guys? It's me, Emily G, back at you again with another video. I want to talk to you guys about Iron Lung. I saw it in theaters yesterday, which by the time this video comes out, hopefully not too long has passed, but I know I have a line in the queue of videos that I'm waiting to put out right now. Because I've been getting content daily to you guys, which I hate to brag, but like I've got a full-time job. So pretty happy that I can get something out to you guys every day. So make sure to subscribe for more. But let's talk about it. Markiplier, who, if you don't know Markiplier, I don't know why I clicked on this video, but he is a big YouTuber who does a lot of mainly gaming content right now. And he had been working on Iron Lung the movie, which is a movie he was self-financing, directing, and starring in based off of the video game Iron Lung, which is like a horror movie. I don't know how else I would describe it other than a horror movie, to be honest, because it involves many things that I don't like, including the ocean, claustrophobia, all of that. And so naturally I decided to see it because I hate horror movies. So Markiplier did an emergency stream the other day, or an actual emergency stream, because I think a few days ago he went on an emergency stream, is what he titled it, where he was crying and he was telling everyone that he was very excited to make the movie and have it out for everybody. And he was very emotional in it, and I'm like, no shade, honestly, I would be too. So he put out this emergency stream where he was just saying thank you again and crying again. Again, no shade, I really don't mean to be so snarky, oh my god, I'm sorry. But it was very heartwarming, it was, and you can tell like he's very proud of the project. And Mike and I, my boyfriend, we haven't gotten to see it yet, or at least we hadn't by the time this stream came out. And I didn't really know how long it was going to be out for. I've seen YouTubers put something in theaters for one day, for a whole weekend, or people, you know, YouTubers put stuff up on Netflix and it stays out for like months at a time. So I don't know, I had only heard buzz of it recently. I guess I figured it would only be out for a few days and that I kind of missed the window. So Markiplier started talking about this stream, which was happening at like maybe 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time where I am. He was like, yeah, this is, you know, it's the #1 movie in America. It's the last night to see it, or, you know, it's wrapping up, and if you haven't already went to see it, like, please consider going to see it. If you saw it already, take your friend. And of course, like, I wanted to see this film, you know, not because he's a YouTuber and I like Mark, but because I like supporting people's projects and putting my money into individuals instead of companies, like, say, Warner Brothers or Disney or whatever have you, right? And even though it's not my thing, I know Mike wanted to see it, and I heard a lot of buzz about it, so I wanted to see it. So we decided right on the spot we were gonna go see it right then. We were like, hey, I found a theater near us. It's actually still available with tickets. Do we go and get dressed now on like a Sunday night? Or do we wait until like 10:30, give ourselves some more time, and then get back at like 1 a.m., you know, Monday morning? Like, I don't wanna do that. And Mike was like, if you wanna go, like, we can get dressed now. And I was like, I don't want to make a decision. You decide. And he was like, I also can't make a decision. And I was like, all right, I'm going to get dressed. And so then we went and we booked the tickets, and it was a very small like AMC theater, which not a big fan of AMC personally. I've had some beef with them. But it is what it is, whatever. We booked the seats. We were in the very last row, and it was a pretty small theater, like definitely less than 40 seats, I think. And it wasn't quite booked up. I knew the first 2 or 3 rows were still free because nobody wants to like sit and look all the way up at the screen. You know what I mean? Sorry for that neck shot. Nobody wants to sit and like look all the way up at the screen. And so we chose to sit in the far back because that's what else was open. And we got there, and now I guess maybe like I'm new to the world. Maybe I just don't go see movies a lot because movies are really expensive nowadays, to be honest. But I was like, see, like, I'll put my money down for this. I see like 1 movie a year, tops. And I missed Wicked for good, so I didn't get to go see that. I was like, fine, I'll put it towards Iron Lung. So we get there, and we got there as previews had already started. I didn't know that previews were specific to each movie you're seeing. Like, when you go to see a Disney movie, they preview other like upcoming Disney and kids movies. I've gone to see Wicked, they played like a little bit of everything, right? I didn't know that when we were going to see Iron Lung, all of the previews were going to be like gore and horror movies. So before the movie started, I was quite spooked already because, again, it's not my thing. And if you like tap on me, I'll be jump scared. Like I'm easily startled, right? The world is scary. And so it was a bit intense for me. As far as the movie, I did think it was really good. I've heard some mixed reviews. I know a lot of people are saying like, oh, everyone's just being kind because like it's Markiplier and we all like Markiplier. I don't know what to tell you. I like Markiplier, right? But I would be honest, and I will be honest here, because there are some things I do want to critique. You know, he was saying he wants feedback. So Mark, if you're watching, you should subscribe. That'd be really cool. And you should put your subscriptions on as public so I could see that, because that would make me feel cool. Anyways, you should all do that, not just Markiplier. Great movie, by the way. Let me know if you need any extras or anything. I'll be in it. You know, future movies. And so, where was I? And so the movie starts off pretty slow. I've heard people say it was a slow burn, and it was, but I kind of liked it, right? There were a lot of establishing shots, some very cinematic, beautiful shots, really. And I want to talk about this before getting into spoilers. We are probably going to have to get into spoilers at the end, and I'll remind you closer to then when it's happening. So for now, you're good. We're going to stay spoiler free for right now, but then I'm going to give my take at the very end. So keep watching for now. Get this runtime up, please. But the beginning was a slow burn. It all takes place, most of the movie, I'd say 99% of the movie takes place inside of Iron Lung, the ship, right? The submarine that they're using. Kind of giving Titanic submersible, but like built better, much better. No shade to the DEAD. And so it was a little like, I've seen movies before where there's only maybe one or two different environments, settings that it takes place in, and they can be really boring. I thought Mark did a very good job with this, right? There was still plenty to look at. There was still like, we saw a big change in the character, you know, I guess gradually through the movie, right? But the beginning is very slow, very establishing shots. I feel like children of today, which there were actually like children, like under 10 years old at this theater, I guess with their dad, being loud, eating candy, and loudly talking the whole time, which is fine, whatever. Not really, and you will see me complaining about it. But it wouldn't hold. I was shocked because a lot of people were still interested, which is no shade, but like some people can have very small, what do you call it? Attention spans, right? And so when there's not much happening on scene and it's all these establishing shots, like I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good way to suck the viewer into the film more, where almost you're like on the edge of your seat waiting for something else to happen because it's just establishing and, you know, cinematic shots and stuff. So I thought it did a really good job of like kind of bringing the viewer onto ground level with the film and saying, hey, keep your eyes peeled, something could happen at any moment, which I thought was very clever. I guess the way that the pace picked up, I liked it, but I did feel very tense as soon as it started to pick up. I was like, all right, like we're not slowing down. I guess I wish it went a little bit slower with how quickly it accelerated in terms of like spooky, scary. Let me think of this. Let me think of how I want to phrase this. I guess I am going to get into spoilers at this point, and it's no offense to anybody. So if you haven't seen it already, I don't believe it is out in theaters anymore. But make sure you check out some other videos on my channel before you go, because I have plenty other to talk about where I will not spoil this movie for you. So I will see you all in the next video. And if you're still here, let's get into spoilers. So there is one scene in the movie, which was probably my favorite scene in terms of what I found to be personally interesting, which is where Markiplier's character, Simon, is trapped inside of the Iron Lung. And I guess the lore of the movie is that they had bolted him in, so he can't just get out when the sub surfaces. And so I guess in either retaliation or just panic, he hits a button that takes a scan from the submarine and takes a picture, and we're to assume that the character thought it would maybe startle the people outside. It actually gravely injures, if not kills them, because it's a radioactive X-ray camera kind of thing built specifically for that planet's use. I thought that was very fascinating. I thought the makeup team was spectacular. And the music, oh my God, the music was just incredible. The sound, I thought, was very incredible, all the way up until the very end, where I couldn't tell what people were saying over the speaker in the submarine. And I don't know if that was done intentionally, but I feel like as movie makers, we have to assume that if people are asking, it probably could have been done a little bit cleaner. I think at some point there's just so much going on that at least personally as a viewer, my brain just shuts off because I don't know what to focus on. So I can't tell what the speaker's saying. I can't tell what the main character's saying. My stuffed animals are here. They're filming with me today. They're my little live studio audience. And so I can't tell what's going on. There's too much going on. So I just kind of don't pay attention. And I feel like the very end of the film happened where so much was going on at once. They did a good job. I thought the jump scares in the movie, which there weren't a ton of them, I thought they were placed very well. And I guess one thing I would have liked to have seen would be, if you've seen the movie, you know, but there's a speaker placed in the Iron Lung, the ship, and a button glows on the speaker. I think it's like an orangey yellow, and it lights up anytime anyone on the intercom is talking, right? Now, we slowly see, as the movie develops, the main character, Simon, lose his mind in the bottom of the ship. And I've also never played the video game, so I'm coming from an outsider's perspective here, just saw the movie because I like Markiplier, right? We see the character slowly lose his mind, and we discover, or he discovers rather, towards the end of this film, that the voice in the loudspeaker is his imagination, and it hasn't been plugged into anything. And then we move into, no wait, actually it is plugged into anything. But for that segment, that longer segment where it appears that the speaker is not plugged in, we don't see that light go off. I would have almost thought it might have been a more interesting choice to see the speaker glow maybe a slightly different color, like say a greenish color, or just like a bright yellow instead of this orange yellow, right? Something to confuse the viewer enough where it's like, that's kind of odd. But me, when it stopped glowing and people were talking about it, I'm like, oh, he's losing his mind. Like there wasn't an interest in that part for me. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. Overall, I thought it was well. The end of the movie was very gory, and it did happen very quickly, which I guess there's not a good way to drag it out, right? With all the blood and everything. I can definitely see why Mark went to the hospital with, the pig's blood in his eyes. There were many a scene where we saw blood all over Markiplier. Yeah, I don't know. It was very fascinating to me. And maybe it's because I've seen other projects of Markiplier's, like Edge of Sleep, but I thought that the one little, I hate to even call it a scene because it was so short, but the dream scenario that he enters where he's surfaced on top of the ocean of blood and there's a giant red eye in the sky, and it's because he's losing his mind. It's not really happening. I almost thought it was happening because, again, I don't know how the game goes, and I know that he's done some more fantastical things before, as a director. So that was a little confusing to me. I feel like it went almost kind of too far, but I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of dull. So I want to know what your guys' thoughts on the movie. Overall, I rate it a can of mints out of a perfume. That's what I rate it because I don't really want to have a scale. So you get a can of mints out of perfume, Mark. He did great. I can't wait to see what else he does. I think his acting was pretty good too, like very good. I was surprised. And I know that Moist Critical, Penguin Z0, Charlie, whatever you want to call him, the famous Charles White of the Hunger Games franchise, I know that he had but he had put it out there that if you're watching this film and you're very conscious that it's Markiplier the person, it's really hard to separate him from the character. I felt almost the opposite way where I went into this, and because I'm not a horror person and I need to like ground myself while watching a film because I'm a freak, I was like, okay, it's Markiplier on screen, like he's still playing a character, like I had to keep reminding myself because if not, like I got sucked in and I didn't want to get sucked in, right? I was very impressed with his acting. I know that he's acted before in The Edge of Sleep, that series that he put on, and I remember what Charlie did say, and I agree with him in that For Edge of Sleep, it did take Mark, I think, a little bit of time to acclimate to the character. For this, I really didn't have a hard time with it. I thought, you know, after the first few minutes, I was like, all right, he's in the zone, right? He's playing this character, like, we're established here. I thought also that the voice actresses who played, right, Ava, the main lady, and there were some other female voices in there, I thought they were spectacular. I don't know if they have previous work under the belt for like major roles, but somebody should cast these people. They were amazing. And like I said, everything was just well done. The set was beautiful. The lighting also in the beginning, very, I'm not even sure what to say. Romantic in like a cold style. Am I being pretentious? Am I making things up? It was almost giving like, now don't fight me here, and I apologize if you're not a fan. It was giving Star Wars prequels where they really just play with the lighting because there's nothing else they feel like they want to do. Not in that sense, but I mean the shots kind of reminded me with it where you see the different color changes, and I thought the lighting was very beautiful. So I want to stop rambling, but overall I give it a mince tin out of perfume. That's my score. Mince out of perfume. I thought it was a very well done film, and I don't know what the budget was, but I know it was self-financed. I can't imagine what Mark would be able to do on like a full set with a full team. Maybe you want to hire me for something. I'll paint something. I'll stand there. I don't know. I'll do something, but I can't imagine what he'd be able to do with the whole group and a bigger budget and more time. And so I really enjoyed it, and I hope I wasn't too harsh on the feedback here. But I know that people like feedback, and I don't want to just be like a hype man, you know what I mean? So maybe I'll have to play Iron Lung. I don't know. I don't mind blood so much, but the ocean's not my thing. And I remember too that Mark said they broke a record for using like the most amount of pig's blood on a movie set. I can't imagine what it smelled like in there. I don't know if, I mean, I'm sure not all of it was pig's blood, but like there's parts where he's like swimming in it. Like it had to smell like a very certain way on set, right? Maybe I'm just being silly because I can't picture how they would have done that, but I'm curious to know. So comment down below if you got to see the film, and if you didn't, I'm so sorry. I hope I didn't spoil everything for you. I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see what else that he does. So yeah, that's about it, and I will see you on the next one.